Hello students, we are on the chapter Analeptics. In the last class, I discussed about definition of analeptics, then in general about analeptics, and classification of analeptics. In that class, I discussed about in detail about caffeine. That is one of the drug we are supposed to study. And there are three more drugs that we are supposed to study. One is theophylline, right? Then the second one is choramine. It is also called as a nicotinamide. We are supposed to study this with structure. And then the third one is dextroamphetamine. So in these, the first one is theophylline. It's an alkaloid. We are not supposed to study the structure, but let me go through on the structure so that you understand the drug better. It's just the structure is just similar to caffeine that we studied. Um, in caffeine, we have methyl groups at position 1, 3, and 7. But in this case, you don't have methyl group at position 7. So it is 1,3-diamine xanthine, and it is also isomeric with the, or it's an isomer of theobromine. It's a similar compound with the similar uses. Theophylline, theobromine, and caffeine, they all have similar uses, and they are obtained from same either coffee or tea, also cocoa. Right, let's move on to the properties of theophylline. It's white crystalline powder, odorless, and has a bitter taste. It's slightly soluble in water, but soluble in or completely soluble in alkali hydroxide, like sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide. So to increase the solubility, it's as we said, it is slightly soluble in water. To increase the solubility, so you're going to form the salt with the ethylene diamine. Ethylene diamine. This is your ethylene diamine. Two amine amino groups on the each side of this ethylene. So it's if you form a salt of theophylline with the ethylene diamine, then that drug is complex is more soluble in water. So that complex is called as aminophylline, and it's better absorbed than theophylline itself because it is water soluble now. Coming to the stability and storage, should be stored in a well closed container. There is a problem with this aminophylline, that is a combination of ethylene diamine and theophylline, which is more soluble in water. We need this compound, right? We prefer this on theophylline, right? But there is a problem here, so it absorbs carbon dioxide with liberation of theophylline. It gives back the theophylline and is affected by light. So for this, to avoid this, what you have to do, you have to, this aminophylline, you have to keep it in a tightly closed container, well filled. Well filled means there should not be, well filled means uh, like this, filled to the neck, so that there is no air, right? Because it absorbs carbon dioxide. Well filled and tight, close light resistant container, that is ambered. You have to use amber colored bottle or strips, and you have to avoid contact with the metal. Right, let's go to the uses next. So it's a potent bronchodilator. It can dilate the lung, right? Then, hence, it is used to control acute and chronic, sudden or long-term asthma. It's used to treat chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which is also called as, or with the short name, COPD, and then to control acute bronchospasm. Um, Acute bronchospasm can cause breathlessness. So acute in the sense sudden. So sudden breathlessness if the person comes across. So theophylline can be given. And it has a diuretic action. So its diuretic action is more than that of, it is a stronger diuretic than that of caffeine. So it's a respiratory stimulant, so it is used in neonatal apnea, which is called cessation of breathing. In neonatal, in the sense, the babies less than 1 month, or just born babies, they are neonatal. When they are in sleep, sudden uh, there may be chances of breathlessness with these babies. So that is called as neonatal apnea. And this drug, theophylline or aminophylline, can be given for this kind of problem. Then it is a cardiac stimulant also, and is used in left ventricular failure. You know, heart, it has got four chambers, atrium and ventricles, right? This is a right one, and this is a left one, right? Left ventricle. So this left ventricle is going to supply blood to the whole body, right? So when failure of this left ventricle occurs, the supply of the blood to the all part of the body is going to get hampered. So in such case, in a left ventricular failure, this drug, theophylline or aminophylline, can be used. Alright, coming to the pharmaceutical formulations, the dosage forms, it is available with our aminophylline injection, aminophylline suppositories, and aminophylline tablets. Brand name, it is available are Asthmagen and Bronchasma. So these are the two brand names mentioned here. Alright, let's go to the next drug, that is called as Coramine or nicotinamide. Coramine is older name, right? Previously they used to use this name, but now they are going to use the name nicotinamide for this drug. You are supposed to study this drug with the structure, and here is the structure. Um, Naming the structure, IUPAC name or the chemical name, it is N-diethyl. N to the actually this is amide, right? Amide, but here it is called as carboxamide with the with all these attachments, groups attached. Now it is N for this carbamide uh, group, and it is considered as a parent group here. That's why it is written at the end. It is N diethyl, two ethyl groups. That's why diethyl, and they are attached to N diethyl. Pyridine. So this is your pyridine ring. Pyridine. And to this pyridine, this carboxamide, the parent group is attached to the position 3. So the name is N and diethyl pyridine 3 carboxamide. And let's go to the properties. It occurs as a colorless or slightly yellow, oily liquid or crystalline mass. Right, it's in liquid form, right? It's oily liquid, or it can occur as a crystalline mass. It's not like a powder, it's like a mass. It is miscible in water, alcohol, and ether. So, stability wise, you have to store this um, in well or and tightly closed container in light resistant container like these amber colored bottles or strips. Coming to the uses of chloramine or nicotinamide, it is used as a respiratory stimulant like the drugs we studied before, uh, caffeine and theophylline, and then used to overcome CNS depression like respiratory depression and circulatory failures. So like the drugs that we studied before, it is also used for the same purposes. Then pharmaceutical formulations, in this the circulatory failure, it leads to lower blood pressure or the lower blood pressure in the arteries. So in that case, the body organs are not going to get supplied with the oxygen, so that's going to be a problem. So chloramine or nicotinamide can be used in such cases. Then pharmaceutical formulations available as nicotinamide injection. Then the brand names are chloramine and nicotine. Right, this is about chloramine or nicotinamide. The next drug is dexamphetamine or dextroamphetamine. We are not supposed to study this with the structure. It is a dextro isomer of amphetamine. So there is a drug amphetamine, and it occurs in two forms. One is a dextro form, the other one is a Leo form. Dextro and Leo forms are like when you put this drug in a polarimeter, it can turn the plane polarized light either to the left or right. When it turns to the right, it is dextro. When it turns to the left, it is Leo. It is because of the structural difference between the two. They will have same molecular formula but different structural formula. Structural formula in the sense, with the arrangements, how the groups are arranged on that basis, but they will have same molecular formula. So in this, the dextro form is more active, and it is used as analeptics. Coming to the properties, available as sulfate salt, which is white crystalline powder. It's odorless and has a saline and slightly bitter taste. Saline in the sense salt-like, and it has also got a bitter taste. It is soluble in water, right? The dextrorotatory, the here the difference between D and L. This dextrorotatory is 3 to 4 times potent or stronger than the Leo isomer. That's why they are using the dextrorotatory amphetamine, that is dextroamphetamine or dexamphetamine. Coming to the stability, it needs to be stored or kept away from light and stored in well closed light resistant container like these amber colored containers. Coming to the uses, so it is indirect acting sympathomimetic drug. Sympathomimetic, we are going to study this in coming up chapters. It's with a strong CNS stimulant like other analeptics. It is used to treat narcolepsy. Narcolepsy is the state where, or the disorder, sleeping disorder, where the person sleeps excessively, sleeps more. He feels drowsiness most of the time. So that condition is called a narcolepsy, and dexamphetamine can be given for this kind of a problem. It is also used in attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in children. In children, some children are more active, or we can say hyperactive. They don't stay at one place. They keep doing certain things. That is hyperactive. Active. Um, and with the same children, what you can see is that they can focus. They have the focusing problem with their studies or with anything. So such problem is, they're together called as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and dexamphetamine is used for this kind of a problem. And it is used in exogenous obesity. Obesity, people with the overweight. And obesity, there are two types, endogenous and exogenous. Endogenous, the obesity is because of endogenous problem inside from inside the body. um, Maybe the person cannot metabolize the food or the nutrients properly, and because of that the obesity can occur. Exogenous obesity is because mainly because of eating more food, that is exogenous obesity. And this drug dexamphetamine, it has got anorexiant effect. It makes the person not to eat much. The person doesn't feel hungry much. That's why it is used in exogenous obesity. Coming to the formulation, it comes as dexamphetamine tablet. And coming to the brand name, it comes as a brand name called Adderall. It is internationally available brand in countries like United States. This is used to the max, where they use it for the mainly for the treatment of ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Alright, this is about these three drugs, and with this we have completed this chapter, analeptics. Thank you very much, and let me know if you have any questions.